There are two words buried inside Shane Van Gisbergen's contract with Trackhouse Racing that should terrify Justin Marks and excite Michael Jordan. Those two words are at least. The deal keeps the Auckland, New Zealand driver locked in through at least 2027, not through 2030, not for life, at least 2027. That tiny phrase is the crack in the door. And by the end of this video, you will understand why the richest and most competitive team owner in stock car racing is watching that crack very, very closely. Because in the next 9 minutes, I am going to show you how a federal courtroom settlement, a brand new championship format, and one Sonoma weekend in June 2026 all point toward the exact same collision date. And before we start, if you are new here, hit subscribe and help our family reach the next milestone, because this is the kind of story the big American channels simply will not decode for you. Let us begin with why Michael Jordan is even in this position, because you cannot understand the 2027 ultimatum without understanding what happened in Charlotte, North Carolina in December of 2025. On December 11, 2025, after 9 days of a bruising federal antitrust trial, 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports settled their lawsuit against NASCAR, the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing. This was not a small dispute. This was a 16-month war. An economist testified during that trial that NASCAR owed 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports a combined $364.7 million in damages, and that NASCAR had shorted its 36 chartered teams $1.06 billion between 2021 and 2024. Those are the numbers that were sitting on the table when both sides finally blinked. And what did Michael Jordan walk away with? Run through the list, because every single item matters for what comes next. 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports received their combined 6 charters back for 2026. Every charter holding team in the sport received a form of evergreen, meaning permanent charters, the single thing team owners had begged the France family for over years of failed negotiations. Teams will now share in NASCAR's international media rights revenue for the first time. Teams will receive 1/3 of any new deals involving their intellectual property. And the old 3-strike voting rule was reinstated and expanded to 5 strikes, giving teams a genuine voice in governance. When it was over, Michael Jordan and 81-year-old NASCAR chairman Jim France stood side by side on the steps of the federal courthouse like old friends. Listen to what Michael Jordan said that day, because his words are the entire foundation of this video. From the beginning, this lawsuit was about progress. He also explained exactly what broke the deadlock. Level heads. In all honesty, when you get to the finish line sometimes, you have to think not just for yourself, but you've got to think about the sport as a whole. And then he said something that revealed how personal this fight was for him. I grew up watching Jim's father build this sport. I didn't want to have to tear it down. Jim France answered in kind, saying, "We can get back to focusing on what we really love, and that's racing." His co-owner Denny Hamlin, who owns 40% of 2311 Racing, summed up the result in one line: everything within the settlement is going to grow the sport. It's going to be better for everyone, no doubt about it. Now decode the translation, mate. Michael Jordan did not spend 16 months and millions in legal fees to finish mid-pack. During the fight, he told reporters, "If I have to fight this to the end for the betterment of the sport, I will do it." He fought for permanent charters because permanent charters mean permanent equity. Denny Hamlin testified in court that 2311 Racing paid $7 million for its first charter, $13.5 million for its second, and $28 million for its third. Meanwhile, a recent charter sale went for around $45 million. Those charters are now assets that can never be revoked. So the war is won, the foundation is permanent, and the next move for any billionaire owner with 6 championship rings on his hand is obvious. You build the dynasty. But here is the problem with building a NASCAR dynasty in 2026. You cannot win a modern championship on ovals alone anymore. The schedule is loaded with road courses and street circuits: Chicago, Sonoma, Watkins Glen, Mexico City, the Charlotte Roval, and now the street race at Naval Base Coronado in San Diego. And on every single one of those tracks, one man operates in a completely different category to every other driver on the grid. His name is Shane Van Gisbergen, and the numbers are genuinely absurd. So let them sink in one at a time. In his 2025 Rookie Cup Series season, Shane Van Gisbergen won 5 of the 6 road and street course races. He became the winningest foreign-born driver in NASCAR Cup Series history. His career road course winning percentage sits at roughly 33%, the highest in the history of the Cup Series, more than double the rate of Kyle Larson, and ahead of his own mentor Marcos Ambrose. His average driver rating on road courses at 113.8 is the best of any driver measured since 2005. Then in June 2026, he backed it all up by going back-to-back at Sonoma Raceway, leading 59 laps to become the first repeat winner there since 2019. And he did it in a car that was fighting him the whole way. After that race, he admitted, "I'm lucky it wasn't 2 laps longer. He might have got us," referring to a hard-charging Chase Briscoe. Even NASCAR's own website is publishing articles asking whether he is already the greatest road course racer the sport has ever seen, comparing him directly to Jeff Gordon, Cale Yarborough, and Marcos Ambrose. His own crew chief, Stephen Doran, described him this way: "He makes no mistakes, and he just waits until somebody misses an apex in front of him and he pounces on them." Now, let us be honest, because honesty is what separates this channel from the hype merchants. The ovals are still a work in progress. Shane Van Gisbergen scored his first oval top 5 at Nashville Superspeedway in 2026, and then immediately followed it with 3 consecutive finishes of 30th or worse. At San Diego, a track where everyone expected him to bank massive points, he was collected as an innocent victim when Austin Hill clipped the wall and slammed into fellow Trackhouse racing driver Connor Zilisch, leaving Shane Van Gisbergen 38th on the day and dropping him to 17th in the chase standings, 5 points behind Ryan Preece for the final postseason position. That is the full, unvarnished picture. On ovals, he is improving. On road courses, he is a different species. And in a points format built around season-long consistency, a driver like that is not a luxury. He is a championship cheat code. So you tell me, if you are Michael Jordan, freshly armed with permanent charters and a burning need to justify the war, how badly do you want the only cheat code on the planet? Quick pause on the story, because around 75% of you watching right now are not subscribed. And I get it. But here is the deal. The big American channels cover the press releases out of Charlotte. We decode the contracts, the politics, and the numbers from the Kiwi and Aussie angle. The outsider versus the establishment angle, the stuff that actually matters to fans down under. If you want these breakdowns before the mainstream wakes up, hit subscribe. It is free. It takes 2 seconds. Right. Back to the war. Because standing directly between Michael Jordan and his cheat code is one man, Justin Marks, the founder and owner of Trackhouse Racing. And to understand why this is not a normal contract situation, you need the origin story. Justin Marks created Project 91 in 2022 to bring international superstars into stock car racing, starting with 2007 Formula One world champion Kimi Räikkönen. Then in 2023, he took the biggest gamble of his career, handing a one-off Chicago street race entry to a 3-time V8 Supercars champion that most of the American audience had never heard of. Shane Van Gisbergen arrived with 80 wins, 48 pole positions, 3 Supercars championships, and 3 Bathurst 1000 victories, and promptly won the Chicago street race in his very first Cup Series start, becoming the first driver to win on debut since Johnny Rutherford in 1963. Justin Marks has never hidden what he believes he found that day. He calls Shane Van Gisbergen the best road course stock car racer that I've ever seen. He went even further, predicting, "I think when he's done with us all and walks away from the sport, I think he's going to walk away as the best road course racer that this sport has ever seen." And on the Mexico City demolition, where Shane Van Gisbergen won by a margin north of 16 seconds, Justin Marks was blunt. Mexico was ridiculous. It was an equalizer. Nobody had ever been there before. Everybody had to figure it out, and the guy wins by 18 seconds. Justin Marks has even admitted Trackhouse Racing might not be a three-car team today without that 2023 Chicago win. Shane Van Gisbergen is not just a driver at Trackhouse Racing. He is the foundation the modern team is built on. And the loyalty runs both ways. When he signed his multi-year extension in August 2025, Shane Van Gisbergen said, "I feel like Trackhouse Racing is my home." He continued, "Trackhouse gave me the opportunity to race at Chicago in 2023. That was just a one-race deal, and everything that has happened since then is because of the chance Justin took on me." That sounds unbreakable, right? But here is the complication nobody talks about. The third player in this triangle that is not Justin Marks and is not Michael Jordan. It is the clock inside Shane Van Gisbergen's own head. At Watkins Glen, he confessed, "I am very homesick. I miss home a lot, and there's no time to get back there. I'm a long way from home. I'll move back there as soon as I'm done racing." He also said, "I definitely have a lot of years left in me," but then listed a bucket list that has nothing to do with America. "I still want to do some European stuff. I want to do Nürburgring 24. That's on my list to do that properly. I want to do a bit more rally car driving." So the triangle is real. Justin Marks offers loyalty and family. Michael Jordan offers money and legacy. And Shane Van Gisbergen himself holds a ticking clock marked homesickness. Now, why does 2027 specifically matter so much? Why not today? Because the rules of the entire sport just shifted under everyone's feet. For 2026, NASCAR announced the return of the Chase Championship format across all three national series, killing the elimination playoff era that had run since 2014. The top 16 drivers on regular season points qualify. There is a 10-race postseason with no eliminations. The champion is simply the driver with the most points at the end. Race wins are now worth 55 points, a 15-point increase, the largest points revision since 2017. And critically, the win and you are in rule is dead. NASCAR President Steve O'Donnell explained the thinking himself. "You saw someone who could win that first playoff race and then kind of say, 'Okay, I'll see you in a couple weeks,' and that's not something we want to deliver for the fans." On top of that, NASCAR moved 5 more tracks onto the short track and road course aero package for 2026. Now run the strategic decode. Under the old format, Shane Van Gisbergen's road course wins were a golden ticket into the playoffs, but a single bad elimination round on ovals could end his championship instantly. Under the Chase, every one of his 5 or 6 near-guaranteed road course hauls converts directly into pure championship points, and with wins now worth 55 points apiece. His specialty has literally never been more valuable. At the same time, his oval consistency matters more than ever, and that is exactly the department where he is trending upward. Every rule change NASCAR made quietly bent the sport toward his skill set, which means every road course from now until the end of 2027 becomes a live audition. Chicago, where the legend was born. Sonoma, where he is the back-to-back king. Watkins Glen. Mexico City. Every dominant win adds another zero to his price tag, and here is the tension nobody says out loud. The better Shane Van Gisbergen performs, the harder it becomes for Trackhouse Racing to afford him, and the more desperate a heavyweight like Michael Jordan becomes to land him. Success is the very thing that could tear this partnership apart. So let us bring it all home. Because when that contract clock hits 0, there are 3 doors in front of Shane Van Gisbergen, not 2. Door number 1 is loyalty. Re-sign with Justin Marks, the man who believed first, who built a 3-car team on the back of one Chicago gamble, and chase a title for the little team that took the punt on him. Door number 2 is the gamble. Answer the call from Michael Jordan, bigger money backed by permanent charter equity, a co-owner in Denny Hamlin who has bled for this sport his entire life, and a majority owner with 6 championship rings who famously does not accept second place. The chance to become the crown jewel of a global icon's dynasty. And door number 3 is the one absolutely nobody is pricing in. Call it the Kiwi exit. He wins his championship, ticks NASCAR off the list, and goes home to New Zealand for the Nürburgring, the rally cars, and the life he openly admits he misses. In that scenario, neither Justin Marks nor Michael Jordan gets him, because the only person Shane Van Gisbergen has ever truly answered to is his own ambition. Which leaves the final question, the one that keeps me up at night. Michael Jordan historically does not take no for an answer. So what happens if the answer is no? Does Trackhouse Racing start a spending war it cannot afford? Does another team swoop while the Giants are distracted? Or does the most dominant road racer in the history of the sport simply walk away on his own terms? Drop your call in the comments right now, loyalty, gamble, or the Kiwi exit. I read every single one, and I will feature the best arguments in the next video. We are this close to the next subscriber milestone, so if you want NASCAR decoded from the Aussie and Kiwi perspective, smash that subscribe button and help us get there. I am out. Catch you at the Glen.